Hello, I'm Jessie with Glitterary, and today I'm going to be doing Brittany from Slanted Spine's Moody Reader Tag. It is Brittany's birthday, the day of my filming this, though probably not the day of my uploading this or the day of you watching it. But regardless, go to her channel and wish her a happy birthday, because she's a gem. She deserves it. She deserves a birthday all year. So this is a tag all about emotions and feelings, things I love to talk about, and how that corresponds to reading and reading habits. It is the first time I've seen a tag like this, and I was super excited when she tagged me. So let's dive right in. The very first question is, do you consider yourself a mood reader? And the answer is, I'm a mood everything. I don't do anything unless I'm in the mood for it. I'm very much guided by my feelings and the vibe, but one thing about me is that I only read one book at a time. So I choose a book, and in that moment it might be the perfect book, and then the next day it's not, so I just don't read anything for a few days, and then I kind of like come back to it as I see fit, and then I finish it. So that can put me into kind of a reading slump. Like once I was reading Moby Dick, and then I was never in the mood for reading it, and so it took me just like months to read this one book. And then I very seldom picked anything else up on the side. I know. I very seldom picked anything else up on the side to read, so there you go. It is a hindrance in my life, the way that I am and the way that I choose to be. Second question is, do you set a TBR and do you stick to it? For nonfiction November, I do. And that's just because I have so much nonfiction in the pipe that I feel like I have to. And then I stick to it. To my detriment. Like November is always a hard month for me to get, November is always a hard month for me to get through, but that's the only time I really set a TBR list. Usually it's just like, all right, finish that book, what next? Depends on my vibe. Question number 3 is, do books affect you emotionally? Does the mood of a book rub off on you? Books do affect me emotionally, and they do rub off on me. If I am spending a long time with a book and spending a long time thinking about a book, it'll even impact the way that I write because I'm very suggestible. But if it is a book that's really cynical, I will walk around feeling kind of cynical. If it's a book about divorce, I'll worry a lot about whether or not Dawn and I are going to get a divorce. It's like a little bit silly, the extreme to which I'm impacted, but it does happen. Sometimes if a book is too cloying or cheerful, instead of making me really cheerful, it just makes me annoyed because I'm like, no one's like this. This isn't real. But books can have a huge, 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 huge impact on the way I feel, and they definitely can rub off on me. Let me hold my phone at a normal person's height. When you're feeling sad, do you like to read sad books, happy books, or neutral books? A lot of times I don't know, because I like to be really surprised by what a book is like. So for major ones, I definitely know, like, this is going to be a sad book, this is going to be a happy book, if there's been buzz about it that I can't escape. But for the most part, I have no idea what I'm in for. When I am sad, I will listen to sad music and watch sad movies, but I tend to read books I can escape in, whatever that means. Sometimes it just means they're more accessible, more digestible. Right? Sometimes it means they're sad or neutral or happy, but they just need to be something that like I can completely lose myself in. And I don't mind a sad book when I'm sad. It helps me like be sad for someone else's purposes, but I don't think when I'm sad I could read a book that's like about climate change and how we're all gonna die. I would not hang with that very well. That would be overwhelming for me. Most often, do you use reading to escape, to learn, or to critically reflect? That is question 5. And I use reading to do all of those things, but what do I do most often? Let me think. I usually don't like books that are just escapism for the most part, because I kind of do feel like I wasted my time a little bit. I know it's a controversial thing to say, but I really just prefer a book where I feel like I got something out of it and it affected my worldview and it affected me as a person and it gave me something to really think about and ruminate on. and like incorporate in my personal philosophy. So I guess the answer to that is to critically reflect. Also to learn. I love a book where you learn a lot. Even if it's like a nonfiction book where it's really dry and it's not necessarily going to impact me as a person, I like, there's a lot of facts in there where I feel like I'm just learning a lot of things. I think that's cool. But if I'm very sad, it'll be a book that's just to escape because I can't hang. I don't have the mental capacity to like critically reflect or learn. I just want to like be absorbed in something else. What is a book that made you laugh out loud? That is a great question. I think it's rare for people to laugh out loud from books. And probably the last one that I laughed from was... Let me look at my reading journal. I'll be right back. The shadows are so intense because of this light I have going. I feel like I could do a puppet show on like my face with my hands. I'll be right back. I am back. The last book I laughed at was Death of Socrates, which is not a funny book, it's a philosophy book, but it made me laugh when they tell you... My cat's eating. It made me laugh when they tell you that the votes for Socrates being guilty were cast, and then he made his little speech, and then the amount of people who wanted to give him the death penalty were more than the people who thought he was guilty. So that made me laugh a lot. Because who hasn't wanted to kill Socrates? Who... like me, has their philosophy degree and hasn't been like, Socrates kind of had it coming. He definitely had it coming. We've all been there. Relatable. That made me laugh. Oh, what is a book that made you cry? Or if you didn't cry, one that really moved you? That's question 7. I'm a big crier. I'm a water sign with a water rising and a water moon. So I, Pisces, will cry at the drop of a hat. Even a book I'm not really feeling can make me cry. Even a stupid kids show that I'm just watching with my nieces can make me cry. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Where the Crawdads Sing made me cry. It was just a small scene about the main character feeling like she was missing out on crucial social relationships and feeling like, you know, female friends are so important, but she'll never have any female friends. That made me really cry. Other parts of that book made me cry, but that's one that stands out for me. When a person is just really themselves and really confronting what they want and how they can't have it, that's really hard for me, especially if you know as a reader, like, you will never have that either. It's not like just around the corner, redemption's coming. It's like, this is probably going to be your life. That's rough. Spoiler for Where the Crawdads Sing, but she's a lonely child and a lonely adult. It's hard. Super hard. Question number 8. What is a book that you didn't even know how you felt about? So many books. The one that comes to mind is My Year of Rest and Relaxation, where I couldn't even name or begin to plumb the emotions that were inspired inside me, where I read it and I was just like, what am I meant to take away / think / going through emotionally as I read these words and finish this book? It is about a woman who chooses to do a medicated year of sleep as much as possible, and she's like one of the worst people you'll ever meet. And it just goes on, and it like is funny and sharp and insightful, and at the same time you're like, what is going on? What's supposed to happen? And then like 9/11 happens, which isn't a spoiler because if you know how calendars work, you can tell when she's naming dates that like it's a coming and we live in New York. So, I didn't know how to put those things together and what I was going for and like what really, I feel like I've already talked about this, but I'm never done talking about my feelings. I just did not know when that book was done. It did have a big impact on me, but what impact did it have on me? I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to name it. I don't know what to rank it. I don't know what to rate it. I don't know what to say. I'm glad I read it, but how did it make me feel? I don't know. Would I recommend it? I don't know. I would. You should read it and then tell me how to feel. Please. Please help me. Okay. The next question is, are you more likely to read on a sunny day or a cloudy day? And the answer is, I don't really keep my blinds or curtains open, so I don't know. On a super nice day, I might be like, I should go outside, and maybe I'll bring my book with me. And on a cloudy day, maybe I'll be like, better stay inside, but maybe I won't read. I don't think there's necessarily a pattern. I think it's just sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes I read, sometimes it's sunny, sometimes I read. I often don't know. It'll be like big chunk through the day before I go outside and I'm like, oh, it was super nice out, or like, what? It's been raining. So I have no idea. I need to go outside more. I shouldn't have confessed all that to you. Please don't tell anyone. Number 10. Do you usually set the mood when you read? Examples here are music, lights, smells, etc. No. If I'm taking a bath, I will. If I'm taking a bath, I'm like, this is an event, and I light a candle, and I get a glass of wine, and I will, like, put on some music. But for the most part, I'm just reading whenever I have a free moment. And stop it. And yeah, I just don't like make a production about it, but I wish I would. I see on like Bookstagram really aesthetic reading nooks, and I like think that's so nice, but I'm usually just flopped over on my bed in like a semi-comfortable position, and then that's enough for me. But it would be nice if I had like fairy lights and nice incense or diffusers. That would be cool. Aspirations, something for the next life, not for this one. And then number 11, can you leap from book to book, or do you need buffer time between them? This is a great question. This is something that I try to talk about with other people and they act like I'm crazy. But there are times when I read a book and I'm like, I can't pick up another book. Not yet. I like need my time to finalize my thoughts and put everything together and like give it space to process. And then there's some times when I'm just like in the reading zone and it's over and I'm like, what? I'm not done reading. And I need to read something else immediately. So it really depends on my mood, wink, and on the book. If it's a book that's like a real thinker, I will need to like put it down and stare at the wall and reflect. If I'm in a really productive space, I will be like, all right, next book, what am I vibing with, what's going on? But other than that, it's a real toss-up. I like to be always having something going, so I aspire to always being someone who closes a book, goes, I did my little reading journal scroll, think about what I got from it, what else can be gotten. Next book. We're not quite there yet. One day. Alright, those are all the questions. That's the whole tag. I'm not going to tag anyone, I'm sorry. But if you want to do this tag, please do, because I think it's super interesting. This isn't something I really see people talk about too much on BookTube, their mood reading, other than the fact that they may or may not mood read. So if it speaks to you, please speak to it back and put it on YouTube, and then I'll watch it. But yeah, it's a great tag. Brittany's great, can't esteem her highly enough. And I will see you next time. Bye!